Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. I just wanted to sit down and do a berry inspired makeup look today. I don't know what it is about the berry tones. I think ever since I got this lip stain from Milani, which is in the shade Bitten Berry, I don't know, I've just been really gravitating towards those and they do get me really excited for fall. So I just went through my collection and pulled out some berry inspired looks. I'm even wearing some cute little berry pajamas because I thought that would fit. So let's go ahead and get started. I haven't done my priming steps first, so I'm going to go in with my Milani eyeshadow primer. I noticed yesterday when I wore some eyeshadow, it has been a lot more, well, slightly cooler here this week because of the storm. So I noticed yesterday when I was using this eyeshadow primer with a palette, it didn't end up creasing on me. So I feel like maybe once this hot weather goes away completely, I won't have to worry about that so much, because I had been struggling with my eyeshadow all creasing on me a little bit. It wouldn't be bad, but I would notice it. Oh, and this is a Flawless concealer brush from e.l.f., by the way. And while I'm letting that kind of sit for a minute before I go in and set it, I'm going to use my Say Glowy Super Gel. This is in Star Glow. I just have that little bit right there left, and we'll be done with this little deluxe mini size. Okay, I think I might have maybe 1 or 2 more uses with that and I will be finished. I love this stuff. I've mentioned many times that I would be so fine with this and the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer being the only primers I have in my collection, because I just feel like both of those work so well with anything like my skincare, my sunscreen. I never have an issue, so I'd be fine with just the 2 of them. And I love the pretty glow that gives. I have a lipstick that I want to use at the end of my makeup routine. However, I do want to use this lip stain from Milani, so I think I'm going to go in with that first and be letting that kind of sit the entire time I'm applying the rest of my makeup, and then go in with that other lipstick at the very end. Now I'm going to take, this is an eyeshadow brush from e.l.f. This is just one of their really affordable brushes, like $2 I believe. It used to be $1, but I think they moved them up to $2. And I'm just going to tap the little applicator and get the pigment off on the brush, because I do not like applying that product full swipe. And then I'm just gonna tap that on. I just think that shade is so pretty. And what I love about this lip stain is as it fades throughout the day, it kind of goes into like my natural lip color, so I feel like it fades even more beautifully. Like it looks very even since it kind of matches once it starts, like the color kind of goes down a little bit. But I really love it, and it's much better with a brush application, at least with this shade. And this is the only one I have, so I can't speak for the other shades, but it's much better with a brush. Now that can be sitting while I'm doing the rest of my makeup, because I do have a lipstick that I picked up from the drugstore that I want to use. Now for eyeshadow, I pulled this one from my collection. I do not have like a full berry palette. I guess it's just because it's not a shade I normally gravitate towards, but I noticed a few shades in this palette and I haven't used this one in a while. This is from Tarte. This is their Heartlit Energy palette. And I was specifically talking about like maybe these 3 shades right here, especially this one, having a little bit of that berry tone to it. So I'm going to kind of use maybe some of these shades in the palette. But if you have a recommendation for a nice berry palette, I am all ears. First, I'm going to go in with this shade right here, Vivacious, on a Flawless concealer brush from e.l.f. This is like my skin tone shade, so I'm going to use this to set my eyeshadow primer. Just going to run that all over the lid and all up to my brow bone. I really love when palettes have a shade like this. Now, don't get me wrong, I can easily use like a face powder or my Wet n Wild little single in Brulee, but I do like when palettes have a shade like this because it makes it easier. It's right there. I really love this particular brush for this because it's more on the fluffier side, so it really diffuses the powder around more easily. This is a great like multitasking brush too. Like I love to use it for this, but then I also really love it for like concealer and corrector application. It's a nice brush. I'm going to take the shade Uplift on a Sigma E24 and let's run that into my crease. I know people love to pick on Tarte for their, well, boring makeup as they call it, but honestly, I think that's what I like about the brand, that they are more on the, you know, boring side, because so am I, so that shade's pretty. It's just a really soft, like, really light berry pink, but it's really soft. I don't know how it'll look on the camera because sometimes the shades look a little bit different on camera, but just a really pretty color. And just one thing that I love about their makeup is it blends out so easily. Like, I find that you don't have to really struggle with blending their products out or anything. Like, it's easy. And that's what I like. Their makeup's hard to mess up, kind of thing. That shade is so pretty. See, now on a more casual day, which how casual can you be when I'm sitting here doing this in my pajamas? I would just have this shade and I'd put it on the lid too and all the way up, and then I'd put one of these shimmer shades over the top, and that would be my look. I want to pull in a little bit more berry. I love that lip stain. I just love that. I think that was what really inspired this whole look and this whole kind of, I want a few berry options in my collection, because usually that's not really something I would go for because most berries are on the really deeper side, and because I'm so fair, I tend to avoid deeper shades or like shades with a lot of pigment like that, so I just never really gravitated more towards it. I really love like the soft pinks, the soft peaches, that kind of stuff, but I don't know, after I got that lip stain, and then I picked up a few other little berry options, like I have that Charlotte Tilbury cream blush, it's like lip and cheek glow or something like that. It's in a really beautiful berry tone, and I don't know. Now, I'm not going to be using that today. I have another blush that I found like stuck in the back of my drawer. I thought I had decluttered this, and I guess maybe I had, and it maybe rolled in the back, or maybe I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. I thought I decluttered it, but I found it in the very back of my drawer. I guess maybe it got mixed up when I was putting other makeup back, and it just went back there and I just never noticed it, which is sad. Using that same brush, I'm going in with the shade Serenity. Kind of looks more brown. Pretty, but it kind of, well, no, I'm building up the, no. There's a little bit of berryness to it. It almost looks like a really deep brown with like a little bit, like a plum brown or a berry brown. But it's pretty nonetheless. Not really what I expected, but I like it. I'm gonna get as much of the pigment off on the brush as I can, then I'll go back in with a more, that fluffier brush I was just using, and really diffuse that out. But that's very pretty. So I'm going to take that Flawless, my face is turning pink, it's hot in this room. I'm going to take that Flawless concealer brush, and I'm just going to kind of go right here along the edge of that. I didn't add anything to this brush, just whatever was left of that Vivacious shade is all that's on this brush right now. Okay, I had to turn on a little bit of air because it is hot in this room. My cheeks were turning pink. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Yeah, it's definitely like a really rich, like plum kind of brown almost. But it's very pretty. I don't know, the lips, this looks like almost like a cooler tone. The lips are more of like a red berry. This is more of like a cool tone berry brown. And the lip I have to go with this is also kind of like a reddish berry. So, might not match completely, but it's kind of all I have to work with. See, this is what I mean by this brush being a multitasker. And I find that because of its size, it easily blends out shades. Now, if you're someone that loves a lot of pigment in your eyeshadows, I don't know if you would like it for this step that I'm doing here because it really diffuses, but now that's what I like, so this brush is very handy. I just feel like it really helps diffuse the shade, helps it blend better. I'm going to go in with the shade Motivate on a Sigma E57. And I'm not spraying my brush, I just want to see the shade on its own. I've used this palette before, but it's been a while, I want to say, so I just want to see these shimmers perform on their own, and that's pretty. Yeah, I checked my drugstore drawer with my eyeshadows, and I did not have one palette that had like berry tones in it, or maybe I did at one point, but I probably ended up decluttering them. I think e.l.f. has one of their little bite-size quads. I think there's a berry one in that, but I think that was one that I ended up decluttering. But that might be a really nice, affordable option to grab, since berries are not something that I would wear daily, but I like knowing that I have the option to wear it if I want to, because I think it is really pretty. I feel like that shade has a little bit of warmth to it, so that might help kind of tie in this. I even have a mascara that I'm going to use that has, it's actually, the shade's called Berry Brown. I was not a fan of that shade at first, I will admit, on me, because I felt like, I don't know, it kind of, I guess because I had never used a shade like that and I wasn't sure how I really felt about it, but I really do like it now. I believe, doesn't Charlotte Tilbury have kind of like a burgundy or more of a berry mascara? I'd like to try that. I know L'Oreal does, because I've seen a lot of people talk about that, but they're not cruelty free, so I'm not using that one, but I believe that Charlotte Tilbury has like a berry or a burgundy. I'd like to try that. And the mascara I'm using is from CoverGirl. This is their Eye Enhancer mascara, and it's in the shade Berry Brown. I thought this would be perfect. Now, this eye look is a little bit darker than what I normally wear when I go in with this mascara, so I don't know if it'll really stand out against this like it would if I wore something really light and soft, because I find that this color on me anyway, it's a very soft kind of color. Like, it looks more, I don't want to say natural since my lashes are not naturally berry brown, but it's definitely more of a subtle mascara. I changed the little cushion thingy in this, and I don't like that little, I don't know, I feel like it's just too thick. Like, it doesn't really give me a good curl. Now, the only thing I will say that I don't like about this mascara from CoverGirl, it comes out a little gloopy. It's not as bad now like it used to be. I think that it's dried out a little bit, but it still is just not the greatest coming out of that tube. I find that it just doesn't clean it off enough. I don't know if the little stopper is just too large or if the stopper just doesn't work right. That's why I would love to try the Charlotte Tilbury one. I don't know if there's really a lot of drugstore options when it comes to this kind of shade in a mascara. So you can see what I mean. It's very like a natural kind of color, so it might not stand out too much against this eyeshadow. But it's pretty, but it's not really, it almost looks like I'm not even wearing mascara. But I really didn't expect it to show up too much, but let me put on a second coat, maybe that'll help. Because it is such kind of like a soft shade. You can see it a little bit. I just thought it would be really pretty with this berry eye, just to kind of have like a berry mascara. You know, with a look like this that's a little bit deeper, I wonder if they make berry false eyelashes. That would be really pretty. I'm sure they do somewhere. Or you know what, I could have taken like a pair of false eyelashes and then put that mascara on them. I know that kind of reduces the life of the false eyelash, but I don't wear false eyelashes a lot anyway. Not anymore, I used to, but I could have done that. That way it would have maybe stood out a little bit more against this type of look. But you know, I mentioned earlier like a look I would wear on a more casual day. This mascara would have been really pretty with that, because it would have been like a really soft eye and you would have been able to see the mascara a little more. Yeah, it's very subtle, but very pretty. I feel like it wouldn't be something you notice way off, but if you got up close, you would see it, and it's just pretty. Okay, I did 2 coats on both sides. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put on foundation. I'm just going to use my Tower 28 Sunny Days tinted sunscreen. This is in the shade 10 Larchmont. This is in my everyday makeup drawer, and I'm trying to use it up. Of course, there's more in there than I thought, but it's still getting really hard to squeeze out the product. I love this stuff, and I saw where Tower 28 is going to have a powder. I'm so excited. I'm going to get it for sure. Because if you've paid me any attention in the past, you will know how much I've mentioned loving Tower 28. You know, they have a black and a brown mascara. Now they need a berry one. I can't wait to try their powder. I believe it's a pressed powder too. Like, I want to say I saw the compact. They already have it on the Sephora app. You can't purchase it yet, but you can look at it on there. And I'm planning on picking that up because I'm hoping it will be so good, because usually I love just about everything in there line, and it'll be nice to have a powder that go along with their tinted sunscreen and their concealer. I've made sure that Flawless Concealer brush is wiped off, and I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. This is the Putty Color Correcting Eye Brightener. This one's in the shade Fair. As you can see, I have pan in this one. This is part of my everyday makeup drawer this month as well, and I'm just trying to kind of expand on that pan if possible. I picked a lot of products this month that I felt like could almost be like an unofficial project pan. Like, I'm not actually active in that, but kind of like an unofficial one, because there were a few products in there that I felt like I could get empties on, or I could like maybe expand pans in it. This was one of the reasons why I chose this, and that tinted sunscreen, and also the Say primer, because I feel like I know I definitely can use up that Say primer. I feel like maybe 2 more uses and that will be gone. Of course, I know it's just a little deluxe sample, but I mean, no matter what I use up, whether it's a mini or a full size, I mean, I always like knowing that I did, because I do have, I won't say a lot of makeup, but well, I kind of do in certain categories. So it's just nice to have an empty of something. And then I'm going to use the Say Slip Tint Concealer. This one is in the shade number 1. I would like to get shade number 2. I've really been liking this concealer, but I feel like I would really like to have maybe 1 more shade up, because I feel like this one is a little bit of kind of brightening on me, and I'm not a fan of that. I like concealers to match my skin tone. It's not too off though. I mean, like it can work. It's not that brightening, but I just rather have maybe just 1 shade darker. But I'm gonna use this one up. I wouldn't buy another one right now. I'd rather just keep using this one because it works. It's not that brightening, but I just notice it like a little bit. And then I like to go back over that with my sponge, because I have sprayed my sponge with some setting spray. And I like to go back in and make sure everything is nice and pressed in. Okay, there's the blush I'm going to go in with is this one from Rare Beauty. This is one of the soft pinch liquid blushes. This one is in the shade Fake. And look how deep that is. It's gorgeous. It is so gorgeous. I wore it one day last week and it's so stunning. The only thing I don't like about this, it's matte. I find that matte liquid blushes, at least for me, they are a little bit annoying to blend, kind of. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're just harder to work with because they want to be more of a, like, stay put kind of formula. So what I'm going to do is mix a little bit of a liquid highlighter. This is from Rare Beauty. This is their liquid luminizer in the shade Enchant. This has a pinkiness to it. I'm just going to mix a touch of that because I don't like the matte part of this. Now I'm really going to sheer that shade out on the back of my hand because it is pigmented. Of course, we all know now how pigmented these are, and then I'm going to put like a little stripe of that next to it, and I'm going to place the 2 of these together. Ooh, that's lovely. And I'm going to take that Refi Complexion Duo brush on my favorite side, we all know, and blend that in. I just wasn't a fan of how matte it was. I do not like matte liquid blushes. I find that they just feel stiff. Like they want to set down too quickly. Ooh. And I love that luminizer mixed in with this because it still keeps that berryness and it adds that little bit of pink highlight to it, and it is lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Look at that. And it's very pigmented, as we all know that Rare Beauty's blushes are. You don't need a ton. That is such a pretty shade. Like, oh my goodness. And see, normally I'm so intimidated by shades that look like that. Like, I have a really light skin tone, so I've always kind of shied away from shades like that. And I shouldn't, because it's so pretty. Some of this right in here is going to be toned down because I'm going to go over that with a powder anyway, but is so pretty. And then seeing it mixed with that liquid luminizer, it's stunning. And I love that that shade, this one has that pinkiness to it, so it kind of adds a little bit of like almost like a pinky berry, which I love. Patrick Ta has a blush duo that I really want, and it's a deep shade like this. I think it's called She's Wanted. I want that shade so very much. Simply Blair here on YouTube talks about that shade a lot and how she feels like it looks really beautiful on all skin tones and to not let it intimidate you, and I really want to pick up that shade. And the last time I was at the Sephora in Kohl's near me, oh, I love that. I love this combo. This is probably like my new favorite little combo here. I just think that made like such a pretty tone. And it was so much easier to work with because this on its own, while it was beautiful, was a little too stiff for me. I mean, it was just a little bit too, it dried down a little too quickly, and I just didn't really like it. But mixed with this, I found that that made it so much easier to work with, at least for me. But the shade from Patrick Ta, they had it the last time I was at that Sephora and Kohl's, but I don't know when I'll be going back. Maybe, hopefully, sometime next week. We'll see. But I'd really like to pick up that shade. Okay, I'm going to go in now with my Tarte. This is the Face Tape Press Powder in Fairlight Neutral. I have really been liking this powder, believe it or not. I'm going to cap out any creases that I have because I do get them. And then press this powder in. I really just have been liking this powder. It's a bit heavy. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, it is a bit of a heavy powder, but I find that I don't mind it. I don't know why, but I just see how, okay, you can see that sun. Now look. I just feel like it really perfects everything. And that's what I like about it. But I believe they have a powder like this, or it's got like that reflective packaging in like a loose. I'd like to try that one, but unfortunately, I think for the two lightest shades, one is a lilac color or lavender, and the other one is a pink. I already know that pink is not going to work for me. Every time I've ever used a pink powder, it just backfires on me so badly. But I wonder how the lilac-y color would look on my skin tone. I find that pink just kind of, I don't know if it oxidizes on me or it just leaves a cast. But I wonder how a lilac-y color would look. Because I'd like to try it, but then I just don't know. Yeah, it looks kind of heavy, but I feel like it also just looks nice. I don't know if you can see what I mean. I don't know. That might not have done anything. I just really like the way it looks, and I've been enjoying it. It's been in my everyday makeup drawer this month, and I've just really been liking it. Now that I have my face set, I'm going with my bronzer. This is the Buttermelt bronzer from NYX in the shade Buttercup. I'm going to take that on an e.l.f. Flawless Face Brush. This is another product that I've really been just loving so much. This is a good bronzer. It's so pretty. It's really pigmented, so I really like to tap like twice and then really press off in the cap because I don't want too much. I'm definitely more of a blush person than I am bronzer. You can see it's just like a really pretty bronzer. I definitely understand the hype on these. They're really lovely. The blushes are nice too. I went ahead and did my brows off camera because it's the same thing. I just have these in my everyday makeup drawer. The Laura Geller Sculpt and Stay Waterproof Brow Pencil and Gel in dark brown. And then I use the Kosas Air Brow Gel. I have like a little deluxe sample size here. And then I just went ahead and did one of my lower lash lines. So we'll show you how I did that on the other eye. So I'm going to take that shade Uplift on a Sigma E57. And then I run that on my lower lash line all the way across. Then on that same brush, I took the shade Peaceful and put that right here in my inner corner. And just go back in with that mascara. And that's all for the eyes. Okay, and there is the eye look all done. I don't have a lip liner, and I believe this line from CoverGirl, I think these are like the Simply Ageless lipsticks. They're the ones that have like that core, like in the center. I have used this once, so the core was more of a lighter color, but it's kind of mixed in a little bit. I believe they have matching lip liners to these, or I know they did with the red shade that I had at one point. Now I can still have that stain on, but I thought this would be pretty over the top. Now, I wore this the other day, but I wore it with like taking a brush and patting over. I'm going to put it on full swipe today, and we'll see what it looks like. But now, bear in mind, it's over something, so let me swatch it on my hand for you. Here you go. That's what it looks like. Now that is a gorgeous shade. And I've tried these lipsticks before from CoverGirl. I don't know the official name of them. I took like all the sticker off and all it has on the bottom. Oh, I forgot to mention this is in the shade Honest Berry, but I'll have it all listed and linked for you below. So there you have this completed berry inspired look. Oh, I love that blush mixed in with that highlighter. I just feel like that definitely helped that shade blend out a lot more easily. The other day when I used it, it did blend and it did look beautiful, but took a little more work because it wanted to set very quickly onto my face. So I'm glad to see that I can mix it like that, and it's so beautiful. But I don't know what it was. I just been really loving the berry tones after I got that lip stain, and I just want to do a really quick and easy look using some more of my berry inspired products. But if you have any berry products that you love and you would recommend, please leave them for me below. I would love to take a look at them, check some of them out. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. And make sure you hit that bell icon so you are notified to all of my future uploads. Follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly, and everything I'm wearing will be listed and linked for you below. They are affiliate links, so if you click through and purchase, I do earn a small commission. And if you choose to do so, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!